So, same as in vectors, when we are extracting certain information from a matrix, we use square brackets, right? Now, since matrices have rows and columns, we will have to first specify the rows to return and specify the columns to return. Let's look, for example, into this matrix. So this is the vector and this is the matrix that was created from that vector, right? So if we want to first return all the elements in matrix X using square columns, right? So this is blank, which means just return all the elements in that matrix X. And this is the output, right? So now, let's say we now want to return the first and second row, right? We can specify that by using 1:2, right? So this will mean that the number of rows to return in that sequence includes 1 and 2. So just return 1 and 2, right? And when it comes to the columns, we can say return the first column. I also want the third column and the fourth column, right? So let us run this. So as you can see, it has returned only the first and the second row. And when it comes to columns, we gave this number of rows to return, which is the first the number of columns to return, so which was this column. So this is 4 and 5, and we gave it the third column to return, which is 5 and 5, and then it's 4 and 6, which is the last column, right? So in this example, right, we have selected rows 1 and 2 with columns 1, 3, and 4. And if we look into this output that we have, the column index of this new matrix, right? So this is because the subset is completely a new matrix. So it will have its own column index, right? So if we look into this example, we can observe that the column index in this case it's not 3 and 4 but 2 and 3 because it has its own column index, right? So the column index is the reason why this column index is outputted as 1, 2, 3 is because this new matrix, which is a subset of this matrix X, has its own column index, right? So now we have used blanks on the rows and columns, right? We can also have vectors where we specify positive integers and also specify negatives, right? Say for example, in this case, Control L and say our matrix X, right? So let's say we want to return all the rows, right? But do not return the second column, right? So we are taking this column off but returning all the rows. Remember, when you specify negative, it means omit, right? So from this column X, return all the rows and omit. We left rows, the index for the rows to be blank. So we are going to return all the rows and omit the second column. And let us run that. As you can see, it has omitted this column,